Oh yes, a couple of weeks ago, I had a very nice road trip with my parents to Cornwall to see the Eden Project. We stopped off at Winchester, which is a very old part of Wessex. Then we went to stay at a guest house in St Austell in Cornwall. Then we visited the Eden Project, which is like these giant greenhouses with biomes based on the Amazon rainforest and um, plants and things from Europe. And then the day after that, we went down to Portsmouth for a night. And then the day after that, we spent a day in Portsmouth checking out various ships like the HMS Victory, which was commanded by Horatio Nelson. And I also checked out the shipwreck of the Mary Rose, which was one of Henry VIII's ships that sank off the coast of Portsmouth and laid uncovered for 500 years until it was rescued in the 80s. And then after that, I went home. Yes, no, we didn't visit Stonehenge. We passed it on the way to Cornwall.
Yeah, it looks great.
What? Oh, how are you doing, you fine ladies and gentlemen?
Oh, that's fun.
Apparently, you people are the only one who can hear me. Apparently, no one can hear Roger or Salamanca or the colonel, the captain.
Colonel theory.
Call me the colonel.
I've been promoted. Uh, Yuan says he can hear me as well. I can
Can
hear
I
you,
hear you?
yes.
Oh, it's a delay on his end. Fair enough.
Naturally, the moment Sylvia goes away, everything falls apart.
Yeah.
Fair. It seems that way. I don't think you're coming through on the stream at all.
Okay. So, how is everybody? I'm doing fine. Work was a bit rough for me. Um, I'm still playing. I'm still playing Crash 4. That game is hard as balls. I mean, I've only managed to beat the main storyline about 63%. I'm trying to get all the standard and inverted gems that I've missed, and managed to get some costumes in there. I mean, I really like the cat's meow costume because it kind of looks a bit like um Luke the Fox in a alternate dimension where we'll be dissecting Crash games instead of Sonic games. Oh boy, you guys all right?
Yeah.
Uh,
No, it doesn't sound like you're coming through on the stream still. Hmm.
well, just to let you know, my voice is perfectly fine. No weird distortions or anything. Anyone who's missed it, I made a video on my channel talking about the stuff that we talked about previously that we couldn't because of the weird distortion problems. We talked about those Sonic X episodes and those IDW comics. Just be warned, I was a bit vulgar in those episodes in that video. But you can check it out if you want to. Everything okay over there?
Hold on, let's find out.
Pretty funny with these streams. I mean, the last stream I was in,
Nope.
I couldn't talk properly, and now they're having problems with these, with this even.
Hopefully.
Can you guys hear me?
We can hear you. I can hear you, Luke.
Mm-hmm.
Still can't hear you, Roger.
Nope.
Yeah, it's not coming through on the stream.
Can you guys hear me? Lovely audience.
They can hear you.
Oh boy. We seem to be
This is
getting technical
awkward.
problems over here.
Hmm.
Uh, yeah, okay. So, I was never really a fan of the original Sonic Colors to begin with. It was, I think, the first Sonic game I was ever disappointed with, which is saying something because I tried so hard to like even Shadow the Hedgehog and Sonic 06. I defended them so much, even though now I see that they are not great games. But Sonic Colors just really didn't do it for me because like it people were always saying like when it was coming out, it's like, oh, this is going to be Sonic Unleashed, but only the daytime stages, and then it wasn't. It wasn't that at all. It was just a very watered down version of it where you're not even allowed to boost all the time, and like the levels aren't designed for that anyway, so it's just a much slower experience. The wisps I didn't like because like they I thought they were cool idea as power-ups, but they're not power-ups because they are necessary to complete the stages. So they're just gimmicks that you need to use. I would have liked them a lot more if they were just ways to open up different routes rather than ways to progress. Team Sonic Racing used them pretty well, so it's a shame that they've just overstayed their welcome so much that I can't even appreciate that.
Can
the
you
Metal
hear
Sonic-
me now? Sorry for interrupting.
Oh.
Keep going with colors. Sorry.
Yeah. So, the Metal Sonic races I thought were a neat idea before I actually did them. They show up at a seemingly random stage. It's not random, obviously. It's assigned which levels he's on, but it's not always the best stage for racing, which is weird because
Echo.
Aquarium Park number 1 seemed like the optimal choice for the Metal Sonic race in Aquarium Park, but that's not where you race them. You race them in Act 2, which I didn't like.
They should have really made new levels for him. Okay, apparently I fixed my microphone problem. Sorry, Captain, that I forced you to kind of spoil your colors video a little bit.
Oh, it's okay. I've got a lot more. I go a lot more in depth in my review.
It's more interesting when we see the visual proof anyway. Anyway, yeah, sorry folks. Apparently a lot of technical issues. I was screwing around when making a video, and apparently by unscrewing the microphone a couple times, the stuff's changed. Okay, so that was an awkward beginning, but let's finally start properly then. Hi, it's going to be a messy live stream. I mean, it already has been so far.
Pretty much.
Can't say that again. Today we're going to talk about Project Rascal, which is one of the Sonic fan games we forgot to talk about last time. Completely slipped my mind, even though that was one of the big ones. We're going to talk about IDW issue 21 to 23, because Melting Man told me those 3 issues take place in the same day, so they're kind of alternative perspectives of the same event, which is kind of cool. And originally the planning was that that Captain Theory would have given us his review of Sonic Colors that he's been preparing, which he kind of give you a preview of just now out of desperation, but he's working on a proper video which we're going to show off, but it isn't finished yet because unlike me, he actually cares about quality. So instead, I quickly whipped up a little video as an alternative, which has been a dissected video. It's been kind of bouncing around in my head with a more broad theme, kind of exploring the whole idea with the balance between good and evil that a lot of video games and well, not really movies, but like more nerdy stuff likes to play with, and I wanted to explore a little bit because it amuses me. But yeah, that will be coming up later on. But we can finally properly start the video. So yeah, we had 2 filler episodes last time because we're all on vacation. But we're all back. The whole team is together again. Hooray. Even me now I finally got the problem fixed. What shall we start with? What do you guys think? Project Rascal or the more broad discussion of balance between light and evil?
I think we can start with Project Rascal.
All right. So yeah, Project. You want to give an introduction?
Yeah. So Project Rascal is a very interesting fan game. They put a lot of effort into it, and it plays a lot like as if Sega had continued using the Sonic Adventure playstyle. It's got massive open levels. It's got a great use of momentum, and yeah, it's very cool. The issue with it seems to be that like the levels may be a bit too open, so it's a little easy to get lost. But I don't think that's necessarily too bad of a thing because, as I'll discuss in my Colors review, memorizing levels is part of the fun of Sonic. So
I was kind of surprised how it keeps the flow, because that was one of my complaints with Sonic GT, that if you lost your pathway and kind of got like lost between the tracks, then it's very disorientating. But yet with Project Rascal, that never really bothered me. Like, no matter what happened, the level just immediately like bounced me straight back to its path. Even if I had a brief moment where I ran in the wrong direction, like very quickly the game kind of like fixes you up again. So the level design has really spectacularly been improved. Because yes, I was also worried about its big open level design. It's very tough to, keep the player like on game, especially because if you miss a jump or didn't spot anything, then you can really fall in between the level geography. But I think this did a really good job keeping you sharp. So I was very impressed. So good job on the Project Rascal team on this.
Yeah, that is pretty impressive. I didn't even know that. So, there's my concern thrown out the window immediately.
But yeah, it looks great. Just like Sonic GT, it has a great weight to its physics. And even though I complained about it before that I was worried about the physics, but here it really plays like a dream, just like GT actually. And it's really an improvement on that. I like the design of the main character. It looks pretty cool. I'm not a huge fan of how the level looks like. It's a little too generic kiddie game for me. But nevertheless, it's still pleasant enough to look at. And very impressive for an indie player designer. Because, man, that level is huge. So it must have taken a lot of time. At least it's a fun concept with all pirate stuff. Like, I like little pirate villages like that. It's a shame you don't see much of a town. The hub is kind of generic. Kind of disappointed me, but yeah, it is incredible fun to just kind of screw around in this one. So yeah, the Sonic GT team is improving. This looks very good. Although I might be a little worried about how full game could be, because like I said before, like just making a fun little playground tutorial level is one thing, but actually translating this to a challenging level is always something entirely different. So we'll have to see how that's gonna end up. But so far, yeah, this is amazing. So yeah, if this game is for sale, I'm definitely gonna buy it.
Hopefully, there's not any super frustrating bosses in the final release.
Yeah. Yeah, I complained a lot about that last video. Did I mention before that Sonic GT did have an update where the boss has been made easier? So they said I wanted to play the new update 1.4, but I ran out of time for this stream, so unfortunately I didn't have a chance to play it yet. Although I was planning it, but the people told me that, so I'll take them on good faith on that. Luke, you played this game, or you didn't get any opportunity?
Well, before we talk about Rascal, I want to just quickly talk about some of the games that you talked about in the live stream, but I wasn't in.
Oh,
I mean, I liked what looks like a DS port of Sonic Unleashed, because I felt that there should have been a DS port of Sonic Unleashed, but there wasn't. I mean, I think maybe a phone game or something, but I really do like how it looks. And also, you got that game that with the spiky green-haired person that kind of looks a bit like Manic, but not. I forgot his name.
That is Advent Neon, and the Kickstarter is in its finals days right now, people.
Right. I only watched the trailer for Project Rascal, and it looks pretty nice. I mean, the graphics do have that Hat in Time looks to it, and I do like how you got this like open playground where you just go around and do things. I mean, it kind of evokes that what they've done with Mario in Bowser's Fury, where instead of just linear level progression, they just put all these in one place, where you can go to one place to do one thing, and if you want to, you could go somewhere else and do another thing. I mean, like you do in most open world platformers, where you could do various things, or go over obstacles, or do various obstacles to get various things. And also you got Rascal, the character himself. I mean, very interesting design. I'm not quite sure what he is. I mean, is he an alien, or maybe a Snork without this straw head, maybe?
Yeah, they should have had that ship's captain from the cartoon on one of the pirate ships. That would be funny. Yeah, it's a fun design, but I have no idea what it's supposed to be. But then again, maybe he's not supposed to be anything.
I like how he literally rolls into a ball, which is like, obviously meant to be like the spin dash or spin attack from Sonic, but he just actually becomes a ball.
Be the ball.
Be the ball.
Hope he doesn't get sued by Samus, Aaron.
Oh, there. Yeah, I think it's a very interesting, unique design. I have no idea what he's supposed to be, but I don't know if I care.
It doesn't always have to be something.
Exactly.
I mean, it kind of sometimes bothers me if you take the animal species of the Sonic characters too literally. I can't think of a specific like example now, but usually I don't really look at them as literally they're animals. They're just kind of alien beings. They're kind of hedgehog-esque or little fox-esque, but I don't tend to take it very literally. As in, they're literally hedgehogs. That's why the whole thing about Goofy and Pluto doesn't bother me, or a lot of people do, because I don't really look at Goofy as literally a dog. He's just an alternative human.
Yeah, because I think they sort of done with that in those documentary type videos with goofy characters, if you know what I'm on about.
Documentary about Goofy and Pluto? What?
No. What they've done is like these little guides or things where like, and here's the average man working on his day-to-day basis. You know, those kind of...
those.
Yeah.
Oh, those cartoons. Yeah. That of course helps. But even then, like Donald Duck didn't have those videos, and I don't tend to look at him as literally a duck either.
Yeah, there was actually a joke about that in the DuckTales reboot, where there's a moment where Webby and Dewey, I believe, are feeding actual ducks, and an alien from the moon seems very confused about the situation.
Okay. But yeah, I don't see them literally as ducks, so it doesn't really bother me. My brain kind of separates that. Anthro characters just kind of exist in their own little dimension. I always kind of look at it as if humans had like a different branch of evolution, but it just took, instead of being an evolution of a monkey, or just an evolution of another animal.
It kind of reminds me of this one episode in Arthur where he has this dog, and being as a world with talking animal characters, he's got this dog, and in the very next scene, you got this character with a dog head.
That's okay. That was funny.
Yeah, that's the problem with animal characters. I remember actually reading a fun way to bring this back to Sonic is there's a fun bit of trivia that in Sonic Adventure 2 there is 3 different kinds of bats. There is Rouge, there's the bats you can bring to your chow, and then there's just normal bats in the jungle levels.
I guess so, yeah, but yeah, does it really matter?
Yeah, it's silly.
I just don't take that literally. But yeah, Project Rascal, yeah, I think we're done talking about it then. Yeah, did we mention everything? I love the level design. I love the character design.
The mechanics are great, yeah.
Nothing much to say. Just looking forward to the next update. And again, my apologies for my complaints about Sonic GT. Apparently, most of them have been addressed since. Sadly, I haven't had a chance to play it yet, but maybe next time.
Yeah.
Alright, so yeah, Project Rascal, we talked about it. Hooray. And Luke, you finished talking about the other fan games we brought up last time?
Well, those are the only 2 I could think of. The one that looks like a DS port of Unleashed and the Neon thing. I could barely remember the others now.
Yeah, it was a car fighting game, and well, it doesn't really matter too much, I guess.
And Frogan.
Oh, Frogan, of course, yeah. Or the little girl with shooting the frog tongue.
Oh, right, yeah.
Alrighty. Guess then we move on to our main feature of today, our discussion about the balance between good and evil. That's, as I said before, I prepared a video for that, so we're about to watch that one. It just sets up the beginning of the discussion. I wanted to make the video more full with a couple examples, but I didn't have time for that, so maybe I'll upload that later on a separate Dissected channel when I did finish the full video, with including whatever we're going to discuss in this video. So without further ado, let's start the video.
Refer to the forces of good and evil. To me, that's like the good versus evil. You know, I usually don't like it when stories have to blatantly refer to the forces of good and evil. To me, that's like the drama equivalent of explaining your jokes. Ah, the intense-looking dude burning my village, kidnapping the princess, and trying to jam his sword in my face is evil. Oh, Would have never figured that out without the town elderly giving me a 5-hour-long monologue about it. Thanks, oh wise one. Now don't get me wrong, sometimes video games, movies, whatever, they just want to get to the good stuff. You're the big hero with a big gun, blasting stupid monsters, punching people. Great, fine! Just go straight to the good stuff. Heck, one of my favorite cutscenes of all time was in a Chinese knockoff Double Dragon game I had on those weird 50,000 games of one devices. Sadly, I don't remember which it was, but the cutscene was kind of like this. Hero, some guy. Game starts. Perfect! Mwahaha! How dare you go mwahaha me, motherfucker! Time to punch the entire city to a pulp. Haha! Yes! Sometimes story context just gets in the way. I'm just throwing some dude out of a 5,000 story floor window. I'm having a good time. I don't want to be. Actually, and that person was actually a security officer protecting his office. And actually, you were supposed to be a cop accused of murder trying to prove you're innocent. So you just killed an innocent man during your quest to prove you're not a killer? Yeah, well, whatever, okay? Look, I'm the good guy, so everything I do is righteous and wonderful and will lead to the ultimate utopia. And that guy was a dick. He probably kicks puppies in his spare time, okay? Whatever. Bam! Out of the window you go, dick! Utopia of peace, here I come. But when a video game makes me sit through walls of text and have me listen to some bearded bore for 5 hours, to tell your wonderful little story, then in that case you don't need to spell it out. Just show me the context. Just show me characters doing things and I can make up my own moral decisions on them myself. What's the point of pretending you have a grand epic narrative when you're just flattening everything to a brainless good versus evil conflict? This is why a lot of these stories pull a trick. They're like, no, this isn't just a mere silly fairy tale good beating the shit out of evil story, no. This story is about balance. The balance between good and evil. Ooh, ballsy. Now there's a hot take. Balance between good and evil, huh? So it won't be just the hero wailing down on those poor, defenseless villains. The villains are actually going to score a few morality points this time, huh? Color me intrigued about what you got, story. And then yet, surprise, it's still most of the time about the glorious white teeth flawless hero mindlessly punching through endless hordes of ugly-faced villains. Ooh, so much balance. So here's the thing about balance between good versus evil. To me, the most interesting thing about this is it implies 3 things. Number 1, that evil has value, since it's not our goal to completely eradicate it, but merely to balance it. And we have to balance it. It's our goal to balance it. That means it has a genuine purpose, a value to it. We have to have evil. So, sure story, do tell. What makes Sauron such a pillar of the community that he needs to exist in some capacity? I'm all ears. 2, it seems to imply that it's not the goal to completely eradicate the complete existence of evil. It's just to get to some arbitrary balance point, whatever that may be. Great! I can't wait for a story where there's like 8 supervillains trying to destroy the world, and the hero kills 6 of them, and after that he's like, yeah, you know what? I think we hit a nice balance now. Leftover supervillains, you just go ahead with your evil plan. I think we have a nice mix of good and evil now. And 3, if balance is our goal, then why is the story still always, there's too much evil, go beat them up? Because now, I want to see the flip side of the coin, If balance is our goal, then give me a story where there's just too much good. Everyone's just so happy and hugging and there's rainbows and happiness and I'm sorry, there's just too much good. I'm afraid we just have to resurrect Hitler and go kill some puppies. The exact same space monks that always sent you on your heroic mission, but now are telling you to go do evil. After all, evil isn't evil, it's the imbalance of it that is. And I don't mean that in a wacky Family Guy skit kind of way. I want a real serious story about a world that's just too good and needs evil to be balanced out. So, I told you about the 3 things I found the most interesting about this thought experiment of balancing good and evil. However, actual stories about good and evil usually go into this direction with 3 different concepts. 1, redemption. Don't just murder villains, maybe you can redeem them. Which is nice, yet I don't consider this much of a balance. I mean, it's still a complete victory for the forces of good. Evil lost an agent, good won one. It's even a double victory. I mean, it's a more humane way of defeating evil than slaughtering them, but I wouldn't call it balance. Then there's 2, the nihilistic approach. Evil lurks in the hearts of men, and women, and non-binary folks, and pets, and in the shadows, and under my bed, it's everywhere, run for your life, There's just so much evil in the world, it's just part of nature, it's ingrained in humans. You can't get rid of it, it's everywhere. Now granted, that's true, that's a good point. The idea that the hero can just beat up a handful of bad guys and that somehow eradicates every naughty thing that could ever potentially happen in the world, that's silly. Yet I still find it a weak argument for our battle for the balance between good and evil, because you aren't really making a point in favor of evil. You just kind of give up. I can't defeat it all, so, we'll just have to settle for balance then, I guess. It's a nihilistic shrug, not an impassionate argument in favor of balance. And then there's 3, abstract random magic nonsense. Good is a bunch of nice, friendly white goo flying in space, and evil is a bunch of evil, bubbling, purpley, dark, scary blob sliming in limbo. And when bearded magic wise man says that it's off balance, then somehow one group of assholes will shoot bigger laser beams to another group of assholes with smaller magic space beams. I mean, sure, whatever. That's not super satisfying for me. Look, if you want to be edgy, ballsy, you want to stand on your big storytelling stage and yell into the microphone, "Hey! My story is so smart, so cool, such a hot take. I'm going to talk about the balance of good and evil. I'm going to make a case for the virtues of evil." So, okay, but then I want to see some virtues of evil. Not redemption, not that magical whateverness. Like, really, make a case for evil. That should be the focus. Not just another narrative of Hero Man punching the Batman. I want to see Team America World Police style speeches about the virtues of being a dick. Because, I guess that movie is a good example of playing with that concept a bit. Of course, outright saying that evil can be a necessary virtue is awkward and uncomfortable. So there's a 4th way story deals with it, switching good and evil with a more order versus chaos theme or something, like kind of switching it up. The good side is this military regime where everyone is mandatorily happy and nice and good at gunpoint, and the protagonists are the violent rebels ready to blow this joint. If everything is forced to be pure good and we don't allow any evil to exist, you'd have to deny people their humanity. We need some all-seeing, all-knowing, glorious leader caging up the population and whipping them into perfect goodness. That can't be good, that must be evil. So many ways a balance between good and evil story could be told, or not. Do you know a good example of a story doing it well, or doing it badly? Let's discuss, because I didn't have enough time to finish this intended video, so might as well turn this into a more open discussion I can use for a better constructed vinyl video, I guess. Let's discuss. And that ended the video. Hope the quality wasn't too bad. I forgot to put on my headphones.
It seemed from the brief bit I glanced at during the video that everything sounded good, everything was working. Nobody in the comments is complaining, so I think that's a win.
Oh, good, because we screwed up enough, as it is already. Okay, so that's our discussion for the moment. That video was supposed to go eventually into Grandia 2, which is a video game I love that has a lot of fun little takes on good and evil, but I'll save that up for until the video is finished. In the meantime, I wonder if any of my other guests has any examples of stories that have a little fun with all good versus evil balance, and what they do with that. It isn't just brainless good heroes fighting bad guys, but there's some kind of twist or some extra exploration going on. Captain, do you have...
We could probably think of some. How about you, Luke? You got an example?
Well, one I could think of that invokes the balance between good and evil is the World of Light storyline from Smash Ultimate, with the ongoing feud between Galeem and Darkon. In the preliminary trailers, when you see Galeem, he's like a creature made of light, but it's not like good light. It's like essential pure light that believes that everything is impure and wants to bathe everything in pure light to ascend to a higher plane of existence. It just wants to create everything in light. So that means that if something is light, it doesn't actually mean it's good. And the same goes with Darkon, the embodiment of darkness, who wants to do the same thing, bathing everything in darkness, in pure evil darkness. So you can't really side with either one of them, because at the end you have to fight both of them, because if you leave one standing, the whole universe would be upset or imbalanced. So, because if you let Galeem win, the whole universe will be covered in light. And if you let Darkon win, the whole universe will be embodied in darkness, as I said. So what you need to do is to find some sort of balance between the final boss fight. You've got to defeat them at the same time, or near at the same time, so both can be defeated, creating some sort of balance.
That's kind of cool that it has a gameplay component that you actually have to defeat them at the same moment. Although in terms of kind of exploring good and evil, I'm kind of disappointed because it's what I just said is the kind of magic stuff from Kingdom Hearts, where it's like, well, it's just the magical power of good that will explode the universe. I'm really more interested in how someone's evil behavior is valuable. Nevertheless, it is a very interesting example, and the character design is very interesting. I have to admit, I haven't really went too much into the newest Smash Ultimate.
Yeah, it's made by the person who makes the Kirby games, which is why you've got all these creatures that, like, sort of like Kirby-ish in some sort of way, because you've got this cute little puffball fighting these demonic, evil, eldritch abominations.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it's also why Kirby is the lone survivor of Galeem's purification.
Again, man, they really love pushing Kirby up in these games. But yeah, of course it happens when the Kirby creator is the one making these games. But it's kind of bad form if you kind of show such a blatant, like, favorism of your own characters like that. But oh well, guess it can be helped. Hey, if you're in charge of the series, I guess you get to choose who's the coolest character.
Yep. An example of order and chaos being not necessarily tied to good and evil is actually in the Mortal Kombat games, where in Mortal Kombat Deception, the main character Shujinko travels throughout the different realms of Mortal Kombat, and early on he gets to go to Chaos Realm, which is this absolute desolate, like, abandoned wasteland of just floating rocks with very few people there, but the people that are there are happy. Their realm is completely in chaos, and that's exactly how they like it. They embrace chaos. They worship, interestingly enough, they worship water, which is kind of funny, but like it's because water is formless and chaotic, so they embrace that. These people are happy. They have complete, absolute freedom to do whatever they want, and they don't care if you use that. There's one guy there who's just running around aimlessly, and if you punch him, he will stand up and thank you, and then go back to running around. It's honestly kind of funny. It was my favorite place to go in that game. Whereas
Mortal
on the
Kombat
other
Deception?
game,
Sorry, is that an RPG game then?
it's got a RPG-ish story mode.
Because I thought Mortal Kombat was only fighting, so you can actually explore places then?
Not all of them.
Yeah, in Deception there is a story mode with hub worlds.
Oh, that's so cool. I didn't know that.
Oh yeah, and it actually goes through the life of one character, Shujinko, as he starts off as a young boy and then grows into an old man. Most of which I can segue into this next part, where he visits Order Realm as an adult. And the second he gets there, he is arrested for breaking a curfew that he could not have known about. And in fact, he tells them this, and they say that ignorance is not an excuse. And they lock him in prison for decades. He is an old man by the time he gets out, and not because they let him out, but because, like, a portal opens up and he leaves.
So it's the story of his entire life, except most of his life is being stuck in jail. That kind of sucks.
Well, yeah. He does a lot during, like, the rest of his years, but yeah, there is a significant time skip where he's just in prison in Order Realm. And it really emphasizes that, like, Chaos Realm, like, you would expect to be, like, bleak and anarchistic, and it is, but, like, the people there are happy, whereas in Order Realm, it is complete subjugation of every person there, because they have to follow every rule all the time, to the letter, no exceptions.
Even the time travel or dimension hopping either. Yeah, that sounds terrible. And indeed, a perfect example of what happens if you take good, or at least a desire to have this perfect good universe completely blow up in your
I've
face.
got one other example I can think of. I don't know if it would work, but there's this expansion to Oblivion called the Shivering Isles, where you get to explore the realm of Sheogorath, the Daedric Lord of Madness, which both has two sides that represent order and chaos. And his realm is threatened by an embodiment of order, which would disrupt his chaos. And when you defeat that entity, you yourself become the new Lord of Madness.
Okay. So do you get to do stuff? You can actually order people around when you're in charge of the or it's just the ending?
It was a very long time ago, but it kind of has like two different sides to a person's psyche in Madness. Like one is more chaotic, which is a bit of the weirder side, and there was another side that's a bit more of a depressing side, but some sort of like link to order.
All right. Okay. So that's another take on the whole order versus chaos thing. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's very popular in fantasy stories because it sounds cool, and of course it's fun exploration of humankind. Yeah. No, it's not quite what I was looking for.
Yeah, because I thought I wasn't sure if it would work or not.
I don't know. Feel free to talk about it. Yeah.
To an extent, the idea of order versus chaos is kind of a central theme in the Injustice video games, where Superman becomes a tyrannical dictator who micromanages the world and rules it with an iron fist. And while he's technically gotten rid of crime, he himself has become the oppressor. Whereas, like, Batman and the Insurgents, they're trying to overthrow him, and in doing so would allow criminals to rise up again, but they want to take that responsibility themselves, and they're not just going to rule people's thoughts, essentially, like Superman's trying to.
Fair enough. Superman looks pretty cool, like he turned into RoboCop or something. And he's really the Man of Steel.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's what kind of happens when you can take the Superman concept a little too far.
Yeah, the idea of evil Superman was, like, interesting, but, like, it completely ruins his character.
Yeah, that's true.
It's why, like, I feel like people like these evil counterparts to Superman, like Zod or Omni-Man or Homelander. I was trying to remember his name. Homelander from The Boys. These characters that are like Superman, but, like, not with his moral code. Because, like, taking that away from Superman is just taking away Superman's identity.
Yeah, that's right. He would be the type who kind of forgives his criminals, tries to understand them, kind of work around it, not immediately going for harsh punishments. Then again,
whereas in the Justice universe, he just, I mean, understandably, just loses it, but it still doesn't feel right.
Yeah, I guess that's the problem when kind of taking a character too far. You kind of lose its what makes the character tick, especially with DC characters, because they're really made out of that kind of, like, they represent a theme more so than really being a character. I mean, it's more Marvel characters that kind of have that flexibility. Like Superman has to be Superman at all times. Yeah.
And that's kind of a funny thing about the first Injustice game, is the way they defeat evil Superman is they go to a different universe where Superman is still good and bring him to their universe, and Superman just cleans house in like 5 minutes.
Almost like an apology for rooting Superman.
Yeah, like, the entire game, the Insurgency is struggling, but, like, as soon as the good Superman shows up, they just win immediately. Yeah. It's kind of funny.
It's kind of happened at the Justice League movie. Like, they tried to fight Steppenwolf, and then Superman comes in and saves everyone.
Yeah, well, that's what Superman does.
Yeah.
And why he's a bit difficult to write in an ensemble piece, because he really immediately sweeps the floor with everyone else. Oh well. Reminds me of old Sam Baby. Like, was it like an internet comedian who wrote a lot of articles about the Super Friends, like an old TV show, and he always had a lot of fun with how some superheroes are fighting 100 enemies at the same time, and then Batman was like tying up with one individual. It's like, oh, good job, Batman, you fought one robot. While Superman with his laser eyes just blows up 50 at the same time. It was always funny. Kind of the problem with having such a big, large, very team. Like, some of them kind of like are heads and shoulders above the rest. Oh well.
Meanwhile, at the Justice Station, Aquaman makes a peanut butter sandwich because he can't do crap.
Ah, poor Aquaman. I guess that joke is a little overplayed, but used to be my favorite joke. I love making fun of Aquaman, even though he's kind of bad at it.
He's trying to distance Aquaman from that reputation nowadays by making him cooler.
Yeah.
A funny thing about that was in Infinite Crisis, which is one of my favorite games, Aquaman was actually an incredibly powerful character if you knew how to use him, to the point that like he just obliterates anyone else. And one of his taunts is just saying, "You are going to lose to Aquaman."
That's great. Then again, it can be a genuine threat if we talk about more modern Aquaman, I suppose. But yeah, if it's a Super Friends Aquaman, and you just laugh, yeah.
It's nice to see DC trying to distance Aquaman from the reputation, because like he can be a cool character.
And actually fix him on top of that, not even just going along with a joke for, yeah, Aquaman is a loser, let's turn him into a meme like they did with Sonic. But they actually genuinely fix him.
Yeah, make him a lord of the oceans. He could and make him like control water and that.
Pretty cool.
Exactly. Like he is genuinely a very powerful and interesting character. So it's good that people are starting to see that now.
And yet I'll always have a soft spot for Super Friends Aquaman.
Of course. The one who uses dolphins as water skis.
Our lovable loser. And perfect timing making that statement, because that's exactly the screenshot I took. Super Friends. Wonderful to make fun of, even though most of the jokes are kind of outdated now. Oh well. Well, that happens when your company makes sure to fix their mistakes in the past instead of just kind of indulging in them. Right, Sega? But yeah, I guess we're kind of done with the good versus evil talk now.
For now.
I'll try to finish that video later, so for the actual proper Dissected channel. See if we can do anything fun. At least if people like what happened so far. If people don't care about it, then I guess I can better spend my time on other things. Guess we just move on to Sonic IDW, which means the Melting Man is going to bother us soon enough.
Yep. Any second now.
What? Who are you and what are you doing in my bathroom? It's you guys.
There he is, the troll.
The trash can man. Let's go.
I'm the trash man. Yeah.
Garbage day. So far our memes. But boy, yeah, Sonic IDW. Stuff is getting more and more dark again. Does anyone want to give a synopsis for the first one, focusing on Tails?
Actually, I want to briefly talk about the rewrite that I briefly mentioned in a previous stream.
Alright, let's talk about the rewrite first then. Alright.
Right, so, well, if you watched one of our previous streams, then I'm sure you know how we all felt about Shadow's interpretation in issue 19. So, I mentioned about how there's like a fan rewrite of that scene, and it took me a while to find out, but I eventually found out, yep, so that's Blue Saffron, that's the artist. So, basically what she did was rewrite half of the story, mostly focusing on rewriting Shadow, and it's definitely a hell of a lot better than what happened in the original. It's definitely more focused, more in character, and there's still some humorous bits, like when Sonic's telling him about, being infected, and it's like, if you get infected, you gotta try and run it off, or else you'll end up like a spooky zombie, and Shadow's just like, stop.
Not just rewrite, redrawn and recolored and everything. Like she did the whole spiel. I love the colors. Nice watercolor stuff.
Ah, yeah, it's very nice. But yeah, this issue definitely fixes Shadow's character, because rather than acting more brashly, he acts more, much more like a leader, instructing Omega to help with the survivors, and Omega's response is basically, protect the survivors. That means more targets for the enemies, which means more fun for me. So,
Yeah.
And then later on, we see Shadow, fighting off the Zombots. It's kind of similar, although it's a little more creative. Like, we see him kind of use his boots a little more, and then, of course, using the Chaos Blast, which was apparently rumored that it was planned for the original script, but Sega rejected the idea. So, of course, eventually Shadow does end up being infected, but unlike IDW Shadow, he actually tries to run it off, even though it proves to be fruitless, because we soon find out that the reason why Sonic's able to run it off is because of his leg friction, how fast he's running, which of course, like, Shadow is fast as Sonic, but he's not that fast when it comes to leg power. So, of course, he ends up becoming a Zombot. But at least here, it actually fights. Yeah, roller boot things, yeah. At least in here, he does become a Zombot, but it's more like he does it out of a sacrifice. Telling Rouge and Omega to get the survivors out of there. Unlike in the actual comic, where he gets turned to a Zombot, mostly due to his stubbornness, because, but my pride!
Because it's just a dumbass, yeah. Yeah, it's definitely much better to rewrite, and much more in the style of Shadow from Sonic Adventure 2 and Sonic 06, so that was definitely a treat. So yeah, if you're going through the IDW comics, you can definitely recommend just taking this comic and ignoring that issue, definitely.
Well, basically, you read issue 19 as usual. Then when the gun truck shows up, stop reading and switch over to the fan comic if you want a more better experience for issue 19.
Probably,
Exactly.
yes. Yeah, it was pretty cool. It's good to see the original scene from the comic represented and given a new twist. Captain, you want to say something? Sorry.
Yeah, it's something minor, but like I've always. So he mentions that like he can't go as fast as Sonic without his rocket skates, which is a fair assumption. But I've always been under the assumption that Shadow can run as fast as Sonic, or at least almost as fast as Sonic. He just uses the skates to conserve energy. Of course, the only reason I have to assume this is based on a gameplay mechanic in Sonic Riders 1, Sonic Riders 2. So
Fair enough. It's hard to say.
Yeah.
Then again, if even Amy can keep up with Sonic, it's
Yeah,
it's
I
kind of hard
also
to keep track.
recall a Game Gear game where Sonic had rocket shoes as well.
That's right, except he would
yeah.
fly instead
Triple
of the
Trouble?
skate. Sonic Chaos and Sonic Triple Trouble, I think.
Yeah, one of those. It's kind of weird. Like, Sonic has rocket boots, but he actually flies around. Shadow has rocket boots, but we rarely see him fly around. Like, we only see him, like, in his first introduction in Sonic Adventure 2, and after that, he just uses them just to run around. We don't see him, like, flying around like Iron Man or anything.
he can use them to hover in place in Shadow the Hedgehog.
Ah, I must. I didn't know that. I haven't played that many. Shadow.
Yeah. If you jump and aim a weapon, he'll use his rocket jumps to hover in place.
Oh, that's a cool detail. Nice.
Yeah, I must have missed that.
There is so many cool details in Shadow the Hedgehog that it's a shame that the game itself isn't good.
Yeah, I also didn't get far with the game, mostly because, at first I went through the neutral route, which is the whole, like, oh, I am an android, and androids rule. So then I tried going for, like, the bad route, teaming up with Dark Doom and whatnot, and I kind of got stuck. I didn't get that far, mostly because it was the freaking Arc level. That's, like, the one where you have to, like, kill the humans, or restore the humans, or find the exit. And I could not, for the life of me, find the damn exit to that level.
I had a similar issue on a semi-light path where there's an arc level where you have to restore all the humans, and I searched for over an hour and one of them was missing.
Yeah, it's the same problem in the same arc level. It's a shame. I mean, when you just go through the levels for the Chaos Emerald, it's fun, but yeah, all those stupid missions kind of ruin it. Oh well.
Yeah.
What can you say? Good ideas, but bad execution. Or maybe bad ideas. I don't know. I wish it just had a little more leeway with their missions. Like, you didn't have to find every single human, because it's not really fun to search for things in a Sonic level. But I guess we're going a little off topic. Yeah, you want to say something, Luke?
No, not really. No.
Oh, sorry.
One thing I want to add is Shadow the Hedgehog, good concept, poor execution. I feel like what I would just do is just trim the fat, because that game has like way too many different possible endings and whatnot. So I would just trim it down to, okay, there's a good route, a neutral route, and a negative route, and that's it. There's no real ending thing, because that kind of ruins the whole purpose of why you bought the game. It's like, oh, it's an optional game where you make the decision of who Shadow is and yada yada.
I guess so, yeah. I mean, I guess Sonic Adventure 1 and 2 had an excuse why they kind of had different perspectives, because Sonic Adventure 1 kind of changes the story depending who's talking, and Sonic Adventure 2 kind of changes perspective, kind of just leaves out details depending on who's winning or losing. Well, with Shadow the Hedgehog, it really does, all the stories do contradict each other. Oh well. They had an interesting idea, but had no idea how to make it work. Sadly. Oh well.
I wouldn't mind if we talked more about this later, but for now, I think we should get back to the main topic.
Fair enough. Right. So Shadow is just an optional epilogue for this stream, I guess. Right, back to the comic. Tails. Maybe you need a synopsis of what happened before. So, yeah. Who does want to give a synopsis of what the story's going on so far?
I might as well do it. Right, so this particular story focuses on Tails' side of the story, where we see, Central City is now getting attacked with the metal virus. Tangle and Whisper are there to help survivors, and Tails is being super busy trying to find some cure to help out with getting rid of the metal virus. Oh yeah, then we also get a little sneak peek of Dr. Starlin talking with Zavok and his crew about helping out with Robotnik in order to get a better control on the Zombots, which is kind of interesting because now we actually get a better view on the Zeddy Castle, which kind of looks more like a prison camp now that I think about it. But yeah, it's weird. It's like, oh, a hidden world once used as Eggman's base. So now I'm just kind of left, okay, if that's the actual base from the game, then that's kind of weird. It's like, here's this big prison-like base, and yet the inside is nothing but like a dark room with light bulbs.
But did the game ever give us an exterior shot? I don't remember.
No, they didn't. It was just a dark room.
Yeah, I don't recall any exterior shots or anything. I don't think we ever
I had this parody idea where one of them turns the light on and apparently it's in a public toilet or something.
Oh, I should have done that in my cartoon. Oh, that's great.
Oh yeah, if like this light switch was like outside of the bathroom and it turned on the bathroom lights, yeah.
Well, the janitor comes in and switches on. What are you doing here?
Man, you have some good ideas. I should ask you to help me out with scripts.
I'm sure all of us would love to help you with scripts, like we did with Colors Ultimate in minutes.
Fair enough. That was a little bit of a.
Well, except for mine, I came in. Yeah, my thoughts came in like much later.
Yeah, but yeah, what I love about this sequence is this is the first time we ever see the Zeddy outside of a plot. We see them in the habitat, their natural thing, and yet they're still completely obsessed with Dr. Eggman. Like, it seems like they have absolutely no character, no backstory, no universe of themselves. We still don't get any glimpse of what they are like when they're not dealing with Eggman. Even in their spare time before they actually get wrapped up in the story, and it kind of it kind of amused me.
I did like a few details, like the whole main chair in front of that computer. We see like the Eggman logo is now scratched off, presumably by Zavok out of rage.
Exactly. I was just wondering, is it really the Zeddy's castle? Because I thought that was Dr. Eggman's base, so the Zeddy just took over. I guess it's now their castle because Eggman is gone, but...
Yeah. I don't know, I kind of think it looks... I mean, the exterior of the place looks something more like, like something you see out of Sonic Sat AM or something a little more Robotnik-esque. Because, yeah, we never really see much of Lost Hex or, get to know what the planet is like with, any buildings or constructions or anything.
Exactly, we don't know where the Zeddy live. So I assume that castle is actually built by Eggman, which means we still know absolutely literally nothing about the Zeddy at all. Not even what their house looks like or where they live. Although in the 3DS version there was a city in the background, so kind of weird to have a city if only 6 Zeddy exists, but I guess we're not supposed to really think about it. I'm pretty sure Sega never did. Oh well.
Yeah. Yeah, to Sega, the Zeddy are just like, oh, well, Nintendo had Bowser. Well, okay, here's our Bowser and the Koopa Kids and whatever.
Captain, you want to say something?
Yeah, now that I think about it, I don't think there was actually any other life forms on the Lost Hex. It was just the Zeddy and Eggman's robots.
Yeah, because the Flickies were brought in by Dr. Eggman, and so Sonic and Tails got there. So even they are not native to Hex. So we have no idea what's going on with the Hex.
They must be bored out of their minds.
Yet they have a casino. I don't know what kind of guests they expect there, but...
Well, like, wasn't there, like, Yeti creatures in, like, the snow level? 'Cause I swear there was, like, some kind of enemies. I don't think those originated from Sonic's world or anything.
I like the idea that there are the only 6 Zeti left. That maybe there were others, but they all got died out, or they were all slaughtered over wars or something.
They were even dumber than Zomzoms that just got themselves killed.
Yeah, well, considering that Lost Hex is made out of, like, hexagons with, like, huge gaps in there, I can only imagine the rest of the Zeti died by just falling off the edges of the world.
I know you probably didn't intend that, Luke, but that was definitely a JoJo's reference.
Everything is a JoJo's reference. Drives me
Everything.
insane.
I know
Melting Man?
little to nothing about JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, so this is all new to me.
Yeah, same here. That's why we have the captain around to remind us of everything that's JoJo reference, I suppose.
At least more up to date on trends than most of us here, yeah.
We're old men. We're all stuck in the 90s. When the captain is... although JoJo was also old, wasn't it?
What?
What year is JoJo from, again?
I believe it debuted in 1987.
So it's even older than the 90s, so never mind.
Yeah, I think it's... It definitely came out the same year as the original Castlevania. It actually came out a few months before Castlevania, which is funny because, like, there's been a lot of comparisons between the original part of JoJo's and Castlevania.
Yeah, with the JoJo clan and the Belmont clan.
Exactly. And how they both fight evil no matter what generation it is.
Fair enough. And they had 4 seasons. How many years were between those seasons? Like decades? It's like Dragon Ball Z?
Yeah, there's, I believe, there's 50 years between Part 1 and Part 2, another 50 years between Part 2 and Part 3, 10 years after that, 2 years after that, 10 years after that, and then there was a reboot.
No, I meant in terms of publication, not in terms of in-universe time.
Oh, in universe. Oh, publication, I can't tell you. I do know that the most recent part lasted for 10 years.
Oh.
Yeah,
which is impressive because the series is a little over 30 years old. So Part 8 was 1/3 of the runtime.
Wow. Well, Japanese love their long-running series. I mean, I'm a big fan of Detective Conan, and it started in 1997, and I think it's also still ongoing, so good grief.
And he's still a kid!
Yeah. That's the funniest thing, because there's like a timeline. They have to fix the whole main plot in 1 year and 2 years, and yet the show's already going on for 30 years, and yet no upgrade. Oh well, I guess they're running on Simpsons time, where Maggie Simpson can also remain a baby for 44 decades on. Cartoon time. But I think we're going a little off topic here. So
Yeah,
definitely. Sorry.
Way off topic here, yeah.
So something I want to bring up about issue 21 is references to Tails. So.
Oh yes, there's quite a lot of references. Mostly a lot of Sonic Battle references, like Tails' head-shaped workshop and the little arm extension thing.
The magic hand, I believe it is called.
Ah, that's what it is.
It's an extendable arm that he uses to punch people, or in this case, to gather samples of the metal virus.
Yeah, it's kind of funny. Tails has the magic, hand, and Sonic has the magic gloves, even though I keep forgetting that's a thing in Sonic Adventure 2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And speaking of Sonic Adventure 2, Tails also busts out the Cyclone.
Oh yeah, that was great to see the Cyclone back in action again, even if it was very brief.
And for the last time in its life, tragically. I love how Tails even cries for its destruction. Just like Eggman, he has a soft spot for his machines. Aww.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But yeah,
it's kind of tragic. It's funny because it is just like a machine. It doesn't even have a personality like Omega. It's just like a car, and yet it was a very tragic scene watching it get destroyed.
Of course, but then again, I'm sure we nerds, losers, also have a lot of affection for stupid machines, and if our favorite game console dies, we're also like, no, my best friend.
What I do like about issue 21 is one of the covers where you see a child crashing through the window like some sort of a horror movie.
Oh yeah, the Zombot cheese breaking in through the window.
Yeah,
That's awesome, yeah.
Yeah, these issues are definitely leaning very heavily into horror movie tropes, and it's kind of impressive.
It's very intense, and it works. Boy, it's they're not pulling any punches.
Nope.
Speaking of horror movie tropes, should we move on to issue 22?
Oh yeah.
I guess so. You want to do
Yeah,
the
might as
synopsis?
well.
Or does
Yeah.
Luke want to do the synopsis? Luke hasn't talked.
Yeah,
yet.
so this one focuses mainly on Amy and how things are going at the Restoration HQ, sorry. And things don't go well when naturally we have the trope of the person who was infected trying to continue on as if they weren't,
Trying
and
to hide
causing
it.
trying to hide
yeah.
it and causing problems for everyone. And also, in a similar vein, Vector has the zombified Charmy in a capsule, which is kind of funny, but like, obviously that goes wrong, but it wouldn't have if this red monkey didn't screw everything up by, like, I get it. Like, they're terrified. They're scared for their life, and they don't want to be alone.
And they're exhausted as heck. I mean, that's
Yeah.
also a theme. Everyone's just exhausted and tired and just can't get any rest. So
Cream states of how she's been having nightmares about cheese and chocolate being turned into zombots.
it's really a big
Yeah,
theme, which really makes it feel like a horror movie with that weight. But sorry, we're interrupting you. Go on.
Yeah, like, I understand that this feeling that, like, they're scared and they're gonna make a mistake. It doesn't make it any less annoying to watch.
It's very annoying to see him walk with charm because as soon as you see that, you know, oh God, no, what are you doing? As soon as
Thankfully-
you
Thankfully, Vector owns up to his mistake, and he gets himself infected to save everyone else from Charmy.
Yeah.
Yeah, by the end, he sacrifices himself to stall the zombots while the others escape.
Another very intense sequence, yes. It was really
There's-
cool to
there's
see
so-
the Chaotix actually get character moments and personality. I really missed that. They're not just exposition things anymore. They're
Yeah.
genuine
And of
characters.
course, the darkest moment of this is Vanilla getting infected.
Yeah.
And
Oh, yeah.
Cream having to watch.
Ah, man, that was real traumatizing for the poor kid.
Yeah, because, like, this was the issue where she's talking about, like, how she stays optimistic. And
Yeah.
suddenly that's all gone.
Mm.
This is getting really dark.
Yeah.
It's
Hey, on the
merciless.
plus side, at least the comic blessed us with that panel of Amy hugging Cream. That was adorable.
I'll get it.
Also, in the first shot of the crowded warehouse, apparently Big the Cat is in there somewhere because he's calling out for Froggy.
Yeah.
So-
And also, I did a bit of a double take in one of the crowded shots because I thought that one of them was a reference to Sally Acorn.
I thought the same thing. It was a blue one in the bottom right.
It was one of the
blue
characters
in the
with.
bottom right.
Hang on.
Or maybe we're thinking of different Sally lookalikes.
It was on page 11 next to General.
Okay,
Page
so
11
yeah.
next to General. Oh yeah, I see that with the red tuft of hair and the cherry earring. Yeah, it does kind of look like a Sally. Kind of looks more like Sally from how she looked like from the new continuity when she got all the clothes and everything.
I wouldn't be surprised there's tons of cameos. I mean, with that's a huge crowd shot, and I feel sorry for the artists. They're always pains to draw. When I draw a crowd, I also put like cameos in there, usually IP characters or myself or something, just to make it a little interesting for yourself instead of just drawing faceless extras all the time.
Yeah, and RJ Sonic used to do that a lot too. I remember there was one issue where one of the artists did like a Mobian version of Ian Flynn at one point. It was the Bunny and Antoine wedding, where apparently someone drew him as a bear or something. I can't remember what species it was.
That's a cool extra then, yeah. I'm searching for the Sally cameo. Just a moment. Yeah. In the meantime, you got anyone else?
It's that scene where like Cream is like flying down to Jamil, trying to like, oh, Jamil's okay, negative. Charlie B is a threat to our health. That panel.
Okay, the one I was thinking of was on page 15 of issue 21. In the bottom panel, on the bottom right, is a blue character that looks like Sally in a dress.
All right, I'll show it up. But yeah, anything else to say? Because it is kind of tragic in the episode because a lot of things go wrong because of their own fault, but some things they can't do anything about, like the fact it's so crowded down there.
Yeah.
That also made it a lot worse as a disaster, but well, you can't do anything about it. Their base was never built for that. Luke, did you say something?
No, I'm saying.
I did.
I think I was trying to say something like, it was kind of a shame that the monkey character kind of ruined everything, but unintentionally, because as it stated earlier, how Vector went and got Charmy, and they stated like, well, once they have like a full clearing of whatnot, then once Tails has a cure, then Charmy would be like the first test subject to be tried it out, so they'll have like immediate access to do that.
There is one other thing I wanted to bring up in this issue, and that is the Deadly Six again. It's weird that so Xena says this could definitely be a trap that Dr. Starline is putting them in, and it seems to be the case. But Zavok gets incredibly insulted at the idea that she's being cautious, and he threatens her. It's very strange to me because she does end up being right, but also why would he be so mad about her being cautious after what happened last time?
I think at that point, Zavok was just being controlled by Sega at that point. You dare to be more than just a one-dimensional character? How dare you?
Exactly.
It fits in his character, I guess. He isn't really careful. Immediately jumps into opportunities. So I suppose it's just their way to give him a specific voice.
I do like the interior shot of whatever it is that's inside that castle. It's kind of interesting, almost a little steampunk with all the gears spinning in that archway. It makes you wonder if that was originally a throne room at one point, because I could imagine there being a pedestal and a chair there for stuff.
Sure.
Yeah, I do like how it has that Gothic cathedral look, and I think that could have easily made as Eggman's base in Lost World if it wasn't so dark.
Yeah. Oh man, now I really want to see Sonic in a steampunk game now.
Yeah, I absolutely did do too. In Generation, you got a kind of glimpse of that in this Begonia level with the Zeppelin and all that. I'd love to see a game on that theme. Anyway, one thing I wanted to bring up, although maybe I should save it up for the last issue, but I love, since it all takes place on the same day, we kind of see the same scenes in the different issues, but each issue is drawn by different artists, so it's kind of cool to see different interpretations of the same sequence.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I suppose what would have been cool if Sonic in what the original concept ideas for Epic Mickey, because if you ever looked at the original concept sketches of Epic Mickey, there was all these horrifying looking monstrosities with Disney heads on them.
Oh yeah, the early designs of the Beetleworks. They're much more gruesome and kind of more grotesque, but yeah, that was very, very early concept art, which I later read in The Art of Epic Mickey, that a majority of them were scrapped, mostly because they were either too dark or they were just too complicated to animate, because yeah, there's a lot of them that have these spider-like bodies for bases and all these different heads. Especially the one where it has evil versions of Goofy and Tigger heads and Jafar's faces merged into the belly.
Yeah.
It's pretty weird.
Oh, Jafar was in it? I thought Epic Mickey's only stayed in 90-20, 90-30s in terms of Disney stuff.
No, Jafar technically doesn't appear. There's the whole Epic Mickey Power of Illusions thing, but that's just more of a spin-off and more of a spiritual successor to the Castle of Illusion games. But yeah, the actual Wasteland, no, there's no actual Jafar. There are Smee and other characters, but they're early versions of them. So you see Smee, who's in the similar design, but his colors are all different, and other things.
Oh, fair enough. But yeah, I never played those games, although I do want to go into them one day.
Yeah,
it's kind of funny how 90-20s... Sorry?
Yeah.
It's kind of funny how 90-20s cartoons immediately turn into a horror story. Even though they're all drawn for children and just supposed to be happy cartoons, but for some reason everyone just immediately associates them with horror stories, just like Bendy and the Ink Machine, and kind of Cuphead also a little bit. Like they always kind of teeter on horror. It's kind of interesting.
Yeah, but yeah, one of these days you gotta get around to doing Epic Mickey Dissected, and then maybe I can stop pestering you about it.
Oh, there's such a big list of things I want you to stop pestering me about, so then I'll never be done doing things.
I'm such the problem child, ain't I?
Poor Melting, man. Keep insulting him to his
Alright.
face. But yeah, back to the issue. Anyone else wants to say anything about it?
Nope.
I guess
Yeah.
not.
Well, actually, I do have something that's kind of interesting. So when Vector sacrifices himself, he tells SBO, "You're lead detective now." What I find interesting is like, if you know about Chaotix lore, this is kind of fitting because in the original Knuckles Chaotix, SBO was the only one who was a detective. So that's something that's kind of been retconned in their modernized appearances since Sonic Heroes, where Vector is the one who really takes detective work seriously.
Well, SP also takes it seriously, but he's not so bombastic about it, I suppose.
Well, he's also not as good at it as Vector is.
Fair enough.
Basically, SBO is just using his stealth for information gathering, while Vector is the one who actually figures things out.
I think only Sonic X is the only one that really goes into the dynamics. The games never really explore what their rules are in a detective agency.
Well,
Yeah.
Vector is the one who figured out that their clients in Sonic Heroes was Eggman, and he's also the one sending SBO on a mission in Sonic Rivals 2.
Fair enough.
Other than that, he's usually just obsessed with money, like he was in Free Riders and Team Sonic Racing.
Yeah.
Hilarious.
Yeah.
All right, I guess we'll move on to the final issue we're going to discuss today.
Yes. Issue
Ah, yes,
23.
number 23.
Can I do a synopsis?
Yes, please, look, go ahead.
Now, issue 23 is a brilliant issue because it explores the relationship between Eggman and Sonic in a more dark way. It's like something out of The Killing Joke. I mean, it starts off really dark with Sonic trying to run off the virus. It's all dark and stormy. He's questioning himself if he can actually save everyone. And then he encounters Eggman, who with Starline, trying to sort out a frequency. And Starline questions Eggman if they've got a virus to protect themselves against this, only to realize that Eggman has no virus. So has no cure, no vaccine. Meaning that, and Starline realizes that Eggman has no plan. He realized his hero is just batshit insane. He has no plan. So he encounters Sonic, and they talk about each other like well, Sonic tries to convince Eggman that he should go back to being Mr. Tinker. What's wrong with being Mr. Tinker? And Eggman says, I don't want to be Mr. Tinker. Mr. Tinker sucks. But for just 1 second, he questions whether he should be Mr. Tinker. But he thought, no, chaos is more fun. And so they just fight as usual. I mean, Dr. Starline was close to have the right frequency, but Sonic stops it. And then so the Eggman and Starline, they go back to the base, trying to think of another plan, whilst Starline has a backup idea on how to control the Zeta, because he knows that the Zeti would betray them at the.
Yeah, it's a very good comic. I love this one. It's a great exploration of the characters.
And I think we all want to talk about that one scene first, the one where Eggman actually questions if he's happy doing what he is, or if he would like to go back to being a good guy. It was a brilliant scene. I was like honestly shocked that they went there. And
I didn't know that Eggman could even remember being Mr. Tinker. I thought that was completely gone from his head. So
it's funny because like he was like so against it, like mocking the idea that this is what he wants. But the more he talked about it, the more he convinced himself that maybe he would like to be a good guy. And it was honestly shockingly somber for something in
The emotion
modern
is
Sonic.
really intense, and Sonic looks completely exhausted, which is very fascinating. And I also love that even Dr. Eggman was genuinely in danger, because if Sonic touches him, he's screwed, and he's right in the middle of the horde of enemies as well. So even Dr. Eggman is in severe danger in this issue, which also kind of surprised me, because you expect him at this point to still be completely indestructible. But man, it's really breaking down.
Yeah, because
now.
his ego is so large, he thinks he doesn't need a cure for this virus thing.
Yeah, it kind of reminds me of when Fleetway Sonic did that in like the later issues when Robotnik had gone like mentally insane. It's to the point where his assistant Grimer's like, "Oh, maybe releasing Chaos will cheer you up." And even when that happens, at that point, Robotnik just really doesn't give a shit anymore. He'd like try to defeat Sonic, then he'd try to destroy the world, then he's like, fuck it. If the whole world dies, I don't care. So yeah, it kind of reminds me of that, with Robotnik claiming how he has no cure for the vaccine and goes way over his head with the whole idea.
Fair enough. And I love that. I love Dr. Eggman being completely chaotic and just trying as many things as possible, just throwing everything he got at Sonic, and not really... Because that's kind of the problem. I love this song from I Have a Master Plan, but in reality, Dr. Eggman doesn't really have a master plan. What he has is just lots of chaos, lots of opportunities, just throws everything he got at Sonic and just...
I suppose it's like the Joker from The Dark Knight, where it's like, do I look like a guy who has a plan?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So,
like when he does the virus, like, oh, it's not about infecting people, it's about sending a message.
he thrives in chaos, just like the Joker. That's probably why he likes the Chaos Emerald so much. It's like it's just complete chaos.
And
yeah.
And on the opposite end of Eggman introspecting whether or not he'd like to be good, there's a moment at the beginning where Sonic questions if he can. Because, like, Sonic has always, like, been sure of himself. He always knew exactly what he needed to do. Like, even in Sonic and the Black Knight, when, like, he was faced with the choice of helping one child or gaining the title of knight, he chose to help the child. And, like, he knew that even if he wasn't a knight, he had to do the right thing. But here, he doesn't know if he can. He questions if, like, it's worth it to go into this town and search for maybe one survivor that he can save. But
yeah, this great job of making Luke tired. Sorry, I keep interrupting you.
He's just not sure of himself, which is like the opposite of Eggman's problem. Well, I mean, it's the same as Eggman's problem. He's not sure of himself either. But, like, from opposite perspectives.
It's kind of interesting, yeah. They're all both pushed to the extreme until they start questioning their being, which I did not expect. That was pretty cool, yeah. Both Eggman and Sonic questioning their unshakable personalities. That's something.
And, of course, the moment I have been dreading is here, where Dr. Starline finally admits that Eggman is not the idol he wanted. Because, like, up until, like, a couple of issues ago, Dr. Starline had been impressed with Eggman's genius. And, like, Eggman was living up to his reputation as a serious villain, but now he's lost to that. He's just this whack job who doesn't plan ahead for anything.
That's right, but I guess it does really show the difference between the two. Like, Dr. Starline is the guy with a master plan. He is this sneaky planner, while Dr. Eggman is the master of chaos. So, could be interesting to see them pitch against each other.
Force, while Starline's more calculating.
So yeah, I guess it is a shame he doesn't have a loyal servant anymore, but on the other hand, I kind of love their dynamic anyway, so...
It wasn't necessarily about having a loyal servant, it was just about Eggman being serious.
Well, he still is. I mean, look at the intensity of the situations he creates.
Well, yeah, but it's because it's gone out of his control. It's not because, like, he planned for this to happen. It's just a result of his actions that he didn't think that far ahead.
Yeah, well, see, I think the whole idea with not planning ahead, his plans, like, exceeding his expectations, I find that to be less insulting than, whenever Pontiac and Graf write the character.
Exactly, like, he had a very in-character moment of saying, like, oh, I don't see this as a failure, I see this as my plans exceeding my expectations. That's good, but it's still, like, ruining the fact that, like, he didn't plan for this, and he's just like trying to coast off of it. I liked when he was in control. He was this threatening, serious villain who could have conquered the world, but now he's not.
Yeah, I can kind of see your point. Nevertheless, I still like Eggman as just a guy who just creates chaos and tries to surf the madness he's causing. Because that's kind of... Because, again, Sonic Adventure 2, for example, he's also just constantly just making random gambles. He just befriends Shadow Rouge. He just tries to grab the Master Emerald when he comes across. He just randomly grabs his grandpa's diary.
Yeah, there was even a
just...
bit where he outsmarts Tails.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
he's just constantly just making random chances, making random gambles, and sometimes it works out for him and sometimes it doesn't. And that's why I kind of like the character. He's just such a chaotic, do whatever opportunity he finds. And now we just kind of see it really explode in his face. But nevertheless, I still think he has a presence. He still does a lot to kind of get back on it. He's still confident. And he's still a genuine threat to Sonic, so it doesn't bother me too much.
And yeah, that's a good point. He makes a lot of gambles in Sonic Adventure 2, but they seem more like calculated gambles. Like he thought about whether or not this risk is worth taking, whereas in here he just kind of threw a virus together and hoped it would work out.
I guess so.
Yeah.
Luke, did you want to
Then
say
again-
something?
And I was just saying, like, how Eggman should act is like, you got all these events happening, but like he knew all these events would happen, so like he planned for all it to happen. Like, oh, I knew this would happen, so I did this, and how it all fell into place at the end. And Sonic doesn't realize it until at the very minute, at the very end.
Maybe. Because maybe I don't know how this story's going to end, so maybe he will get back on it. We'll see.
Yeah. And speaking of which, we also got that real chilling scene where we see Sonic almost becoming fully infected, becoming a zombot, but we see him like rush off to try and wear it off.
Yeah,
I think it would have
that's
been great if he suddenly becomes a bit feral, but then he shakes it off.
Werehog style again.
Or just go in the shower.
Oh, wouldn't that be funny if that was the cure this whole time?
Yeah, that's
Wash
the
it
cure.
off.
Shower water.
Soap! Why do we never use soap?
And then, of course, we have one more scene with Starlin interacting with the Zeddy. But, of course, we get a nice little surprise where, of course, Starlin's ahead of time because he now actually has a hold of the fancy conch thing. I don't think it was ever called anything in the game. I think this is the first time I've heard of it.
I think it was called the Cacophonous Conch or something.
Yeah.
That's definitely
That.
Definitely what Starline calls it here, so I guess that is its name.
Yeah, of course, I've seen a lot of people joke, like, oh, it's the conch signal from SpongeBob and all that.
I was thinking a Lord of the Flies reference, but
Many directions you can go with it. But yeah, I love how chaotic this story is. I genuinely have no idea where it's going, so that's very impressive. So.
Yeah. It's kind of interesting how, well, weird thing is... Oh, wait, never mind. never mind.
And I just love how many different components there are. Like, if the Deadly Six, you have Dr. Starline, Eggman, like, everyone's like a different faction with a different, like, energy to them. So,
Yeah.
it's got to be a very interesting climax to this.
Yeah, and I do like the banter between Dr. Eggman and Starlin. Like, I don't think we never really saw that in, like, Sad AM Sonic. We never really had a scene where Robotnik and Snively were arguing over details. You know, Snively was always, like, cowering in a corner whenever Robotnik shows up. So this is more the first time I've seen, at least, loyal henchmen to Robotnik, you know, questioning the details and whatnot.
Well, it kind of reminds me of...
similar to, like, Robotnik and Stone in the movie.
Yeah, I guess, but Stone never really questions him. I think I compare it more with Sonic Unleashed with Orbot and Eggman, but then that's more played for laughs, while he's more played for drama. But
actually, I do remember Snively, at least in Sonic Satam, would undermine Robotnik, but never do his face.
Yeah, he always, like, kept it under his breath and whatnot, never, like,
Yeah.
Oh, that's
in
right.
front of him.
Or a couple episodes where he actually is in charge because Robotnik is gone for a bit.
Oh yeah, that one episode where he almost succeeds in capturing Sonic and his friends.
With the evil
And
Sally.
then he takes over in the cliffhanger ending.
And that too, yeah. Dun dun dun.
Yeah.
But we'll never know what happened.
Nope.
That is the biggest missed opportunity in the Sonic series.
Yeah. Well, then again, it seems like that's starting to become a curse with Sonic TV shows. Like they always end with big cliffhangers or details that are never that are resolved.
That's a good point. I mean, Sonic Boom has a lot of details that never showed. But then again, I
Yeah,
don't
like
think it ever
how
was
in,
going.
Sonic Underground, they never got reunited with their mum.
Yeah, even in like the last episode where they supposedly killed Robotnik, but then it just ends there. They never reunited with their mom. I know there was one point where there was going to be an Archie Sonic special where it was an epilogue to the show, but those plans went nowhere.
Very frustrating for the fans, yeah. Although I'm sure there's a couple fan comics that ended for you. So.
Yeah, plenty of fan-made continuations for Sonic Sat AM and stuff like that.
As usual, with every component of the Sonic franchise, a fan has to step in to fix it. Whether if it's a Shadow sequence or Sonic Forces game or whatever, there's always a fan stepping in to save the day.
Especially with the more recent Sonic Colors Ultimate. I've already seen a mod where they toned it down on the bloom and other details.
Poor Sega. Yeah. Well, guess we're finished then, I suppose.
I guess so.
Yeah. So next time is going to be interesting. So I think we're going to be looking at the 2020 annual special.
Yeah, that's one is next. Alrighty.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. I think it's just, other thing I think is like, there's a lot of stories, lots of different perspectives, as well as a certain cameo character that I'm sure Roger might find amusing in seeing.
Alright, we'll see. Yeah, so I guess we'll still take a longer break on Sonic X. Sorry for the Sonic X fans. So next time, I hope Sonic Colors the review is done, even though it's no longer relevant anymore.
Be. I don't think it'll take me 2 weeks to complete this.
All right,
I'm not that much of a perfectionist.
I'll take your time. I mean, I know you have a job besides, just like us. And so next time gonna be Colors and then the anniversary comic, I suppose. So yeah.
2020 annual, yeah.
Does anyone want to go back to talking about the Shadow the Hedgehog game?
Let's see. Well, before I forget, I wanted to show this little surprise that I was actually working on yesterday. So, you know those like fancy Sonic character icons you might see in official games? Like I think I posted in the chat there.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So with that, I felt like doing it with you guys, just slightly different.
Oh really?
Yeah, it's just something I felt like doing just for fun. So
I love the Luke one. Brilliant.
Yeah, I did Roger, Luke, and of course Captain Theory.
Wonderful. I love it.
Give me a moment to put it on screen.
And yeah, while you do that, something I do love about the Shadow the Hedgehog game that I think other games should have adopted is like a problem with the Sonic design is the side mouth and how it works when the characters face the camera is it looks awkward. But in the cutscenes, the pre-rendered cutscenes for Shadow the Hedgehog, whenever a character turns towards the camera, their mouth moves in relation to where their face is. So like in the opening cutscene when Shadow turns around to walk away from the city, his mouth actually moves to the center of his face. And then when he turns back, it moves off to the side again.
As if it's like one of those 2D sprites always moves with the camera.
That's pretty weird.
I suppose what I do like about the Shadow the Hedgehog game, it's like a time capsule of what life was like in the edgy mid-2000s with metal music and grunge and, emo stories, that sort of thing.
Yeah. In fact, now that you bring up the whole mouth switching, that actually reminds me of this weird glitch that actually happens in Lost World, I think. Yeah, like when you trigger supersonic form, if you look closely in like certain screenshots, you can actually tell that Sonic now has two mouths on both sides.
That's kind of funny. I never noticed that. I'm so bad as an animator.
Shadow the Hedgehog has possibly the best animation of any Sonic game ever, which is kind of disturbing because that is a 16-year-old game that nobody likes.
Even better than Unleashed?
Yes.
Ooh, that's a big statement from
me. Unleashed has higher quality animations. Shadow has better animations.
Well, that's high praise from you, so I'll take it.
Yeah.
Well, not that I did anything. I shouldn't.
Well, the pre-rendered cutscenes for Shadow aren't amazing, but the pre-rendered ones are amazing. The in-game engine cutscenes aren't so great, but gameplay looks good. The pre-rendered cutscenes look the best out of any Sonic game. Sonic Unleashed has the higher quality animations, but Shadow has the best animations.
All right, cool. And yeah, colors and Lost World and Forces cutscenes look boring as heck.
Yep.
Yeah.
Let's hope they do better with Rangers. I hope it's finally a game with a budget again. That would be nice.
As if Sega could actually have a budget for Sonic, because it seems like now they're putting more of their budget on was it Yakuza and all their other properties.
Yakuza.
Yakuza need to make their games.
Yeah, I think that's kind of Sega's mindset at this point. It's like, oh, you want a bigger Sonic game? Well, go make it yourself.
It's kind of random how Sonic's budget is. I mean, they hired an entire symphony for the anniversary for nothing. Well, most of the games don't really get that level of music in it. And then, Mike Pollock didn't show up for the Sonic Colors Rise of the Wisps cartoon, so I guess they didn't have budget to hire him. Yet he did show up for the Twitter takeover. So their budget's kind of all over the place, or maybe I'm just misunderstanding how it works.
He was too busy with Sonic and Tails R, which maybe we should talk about one of these days.
Yes.
Oh, yes.
Now that
We really
over.
got to talk about that.
Something that, series over, so I'm a bit late to advertise it now, but we should definitely dissect it sometime.
Yeah, and I just realized I forgot to put Captain Theory's mustache on there. That's just a quick and easy fix there.
He was just he shaved, I suppose.
Yeah, like the first time we've seen weird Captain Theory bits. Like, we've already had some episodes where he forgot his monocle.
Well, if I'm the artist, then terrible things are going to happen. Yep.
My design changes quite a bit.
Yeah, next time on live stream, we'll get to see Captain Theory, now with 6 packs. And
he's just too busy. He has to save the world, fight crime. He doesn't always have time to have his costume perfectly on.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And of course, dealing with Captain Obvious.
That guy.
Can't get rid of him. He's everywhere. Alrighty, I guess the stream is over now.
I guess so.
We talked quite a bit, so phew.
Yeah.
Luke, any last words from you?
Not I could think of.
Well, there you go then. Captain, final words?
Fund Advent Neon.
Was that the Buzz Lightyear thing, or did I mishear? Oh well.
No,
I don't think that was Buzz Lightyear.
Advent Neon, the fan game.
Of course,
on
yeah.
Kickstarter. Kickstarter's on its final days. Go fund it.
There you go.
Do it now.
Do it now. All right. Well, it's clear I'm too tired to carry on, so I guess the stream is over. Thanks for joining us, whoever you were, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.
See you next time, friends.
Bye.